So this video was supposed to come out a couple of hours ago, but unfortunately, whilst trying to record gameplay, I fell asleep twice. It got to a point where I was so tired, I was trying to summon a rank 4 monster using 2 level 5 monsters. Yeah, don't try to work on half an hour sleep. But after taking a quick nap and jumping straight back into the game, this deck list felt amazing, winning 7 out of 10 games I played with it, with the only 3 losses being games that felt pretty damn unavoidable, stuff like summoning 2 gigantic boss monsters, where the only real response to this is, well, me, I guess. But every other gameplay, basically I just summoned out either a bunch of monsters that stop your opponent's special summoning, or summoned out a boss monster that can attack basically infinitely until your opponent dies. Yeah, this deck list feels pretty damn good. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get into the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future, especially if you're a returning viewer, so apparently about 35% of people watching this or even subscribed to the channel, meaning 65% of you haven't even clicked that button yet. So if you guys are enjoying this kind of content and want to see more videos just like this one, especially new box videos, I still have a whole bunch planned this week, including resonators or rockets using new Void Ogre, summoning out Abyss Actors, going into my Starry Nights, and maybe even doing a box chip video too, where I go through all the cards which are best from the new box chip stuff. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing one of those videos. I'm not really sure if anyone wants to see sort of a box chip video, but let me know in the comments if you do. And yeah, if you want to see any of those other videos, remember to leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out. And without further ado, let's jump into some actual deck list. So as it's probably been a very long time since most of you have seen a Raidraptor deck list, if you guys have even seen a Raidraptor deck list at all before, I'll go through all the cards individually so you get a rough idea of just how this deck list works. So the first card is your Mimicry. This card when in the graveyard can banish itself to search for a Raidraptor card from your deck list, which is very important because when your main starter is going to be your tribute. This card when on the field can send a Raidraptor card from your deck to the graveyard, which will be of course your card that likes to banish itself. Then we have your first of the extenders, your Strangle. This card, if you control a dark monster, you can special summon it from your hand. Then if you control a monster with a dark Xyz monster as a material, you can target a Raidraptor card in your graveyard, summon it to the field, and go into further Xyz plays and do whatever you like with it. Then we have your Vanishing. This card is very simple. Once per turn, just target one of your Raidraptors in your hand, summon it to the field, so easy rank 4 plays. And finally, we have your Pain. This card can special summon itself to the field, you take a bit of damage for doing so, but then it changes its level equal to the monster you target to summon it. So basically you'll target a level 4, it will summon itself to the field, it will make itself level 4, and there's just some more Xyz plays for you. Moving on to the extra, we have quite a few different cards in here. The first one's going to be your main boss monster, Revolution Falcon. This card is really damn cool. This card, as you'll see during the gameplay, can basically just attack every single special summon monster your opponent controls, and when it does so, it reduces their attack to 0. So this card leads to a lot of OTKs. And if it has an Xyz monster as material, it can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and just destroy it as well. So it's got a target pop, it's got a billion attacks, it's just a crazy boss monster. We're also running a copy of your Constellar just because you can summon it sometimes. It does come up, but very rarely. Then we have your Rise Falcon. This card is basically going to be used in combination with your skill, which we'll talk about in a second, but does also have a nice effect where it can target one of your opponent's monsters and gain attack equal to that monster's attack. Then we have your other of the boss monsters, Satellite Cannon. This card, on summon, your opponent is unable to respond to its effect, and it destroys all spell and trap cards on the field. Additionally, during either player's turn, not as a once per turn effect, you can just do it as many times as you like for how many materials it's got, it can detach a material, make one of your opponent's monsters lose 800 attack for each Raidraptor monster in your graveyard. Generally, it will reduce every monster to 0. So this card, it will just target 2 monsters basically and reduce them to 0, because you will normally have two materials under this card. And that is a permanent attack reduction, by the way. Then we have your Solda, one of the 2 monsters you're going to be summoning turn 1. This card, whenever your opponent tries to special summon a monster, detach a material and destroy it. Very goddamn good in a meta where a lot of people are playing things like Pendulum, because it just destroys every single one of the monsters they try to Pendulum summon. Then we have your 4 Strix. You've probably seen this card before. This card detaches monsters to search for level 4 Darkwing Beast-type monsters. Very simple card. And finally, we have your Nightmare, the other of your main starting monsters. This card on the field, whenever your opponent tries to special summon, it can flip those monsters face down, and it's not once per turn. So this card can just do it twice, return every single monster your opponent tries to special summon, flip face down. This includes on a Pendulum summon, it will turn every single one of the Pendulum summon monsters face down, just similar to this one, and this one does the destroying, this one does the flipping face down. And finally, the deck list has 2 rank up spells, the first one being your Skip Force. This is the brand new one. Basically target one of your Raidraptor Xyz monsters, summon out one monster from the extra deck that's just 2 ranks higher. Very simple. It has a nice little bonus effect too, where if it's in the graveyard, except on the turn it was sent there, you can banish it from the graveyard to then summon back one of your big Raidraptor monsters from your graveyard, one of your Xyz monsters. And finally, we have your rank up magic Soul Shave Force, which is a card that allows you to pay half your life points, target one of your Raidraptor Xyz monsters in the graveyard, special summon it, then special summon from your extra deck one monster that is 2 ranks higher than that monster. Keep in mind, this one, unlike this card, isn't locked to specifically summoning out Raidraptors, so this card can summon out your Solda, which is very important for your turn 1 gameplay. Last but not least, before we move into some gameplay, let's talk about the skill. So this skill has a couple of effects. The first one is, whenever you try to do an Xyz summon using a Raidraptor monster, you can summon out a Raidraptor Rise Falcon, no matter which one you're using. So if you have a rank 4 on the field, you can just slam a Raidraptor Rise Falcon straight on top of it. In addition, twice per duel, you can select one Raidraptor Rise Falcon you control, remove an Xyz material from below it, and then set one rank up spell from your deck to the field, which is very important because you can attach the rank 4, so then you have your return from graveyard rank up spell to bring back that rank 4 and rank it up as well, so you'll see that during the gameplay. Then you can increase the rank of the selected monster by 1 or 2, which is very important because it's how you summon your level 8 boss monster most of the time. And without further ado, that's basically it for the decklist portion. Let's jump into some gameplay. Alright, so as I said earlier, we had a very decent run with this deck list, winning 7 out of the 10 games I played with it. We won't talk about what happened before these 10 games, as, like I said earlier, it wasn't pretty. I fell asleep whilst trying to record twice, so it wasn't exactly the greatest win rate, but after we took a break, came back, had a nap, I had a much better spree, easily going 7 out of 10 games. Honestly, this deck list, the only times I was really losing were against either end boards that were kind of unreasonable to break, or I just bricked. Like this one, I literally opened, I think, 2 copies of this card and Book of Moon, which is like, yeah, this is great, I'm really gonna make a board out of this. So yeah, and the other one I think I lost to this one had Stardust, Charge Warrior, and of course Crystal Wing on the field at the same time. I'm not playing through that. And this one, I don't really remember what happened, but yeah, like I said, fairly decent result. I think this deck is easily coggable, so yeah, let's just get into some replays. Alright, so we've got 5 to show you today. And we'll start off with one replay trying to defend my demotion as yeah. Turns out trying to stay awake on half an hour sleep probably isn't the best idea. Yeah, I had half an hour sleep, went to a live stream, streamed, then made another video, then tried to make another video after that. I was not staying awake for that was too much. Alright. So, against a Odd Eyes deck list, I think this guy was playing the old skill, which apparently is actually worse than the new skill. I drastically underestimated the new skill. Well, the new skill seems heavily reliant on Pendulum Call, but I guess in a game where it's 20 cards, a 60% chance to open anything, it probably is fine. Alright. So, easiest Book of Moon in my life. Top deck, turn that shit face down. I think in this meta, Book of Moon is just, or at least in this sort of like, where everyone's trying to play Speedroid and stuff, it's essential you play Book of Moon nowadays. There's no sort of, there is some link action, but generally a lot of people are just setting up all these annoying negates and stuff to deal with, so just play True Book of Moon in all your decks. It is a necessity at this point. Alright, so summoned out my Prismatic Lanius, who on summon can now summon out a copy of my Tribute Lanius. Wait, they're both called Lanius? Alright, never mind. My Vanishing and my Tribute. Alright. This guy on summon sends a card to graveyard, sending my Mimicry. Mimicry can banish itself to search for my level 1. It's generally good to search for your level 1 off of this card, because you'll find your rank 4 can't search for it. Alright, rank 4 is going to search for the other one, grabbing your other extender, your Strangle. Alright, then we're going to Xyz someone over the top. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of this animation, especially compared to some of the later ones. This is one of the lower quality efforts. Alright. Activating my skill, detaching my bird, so then I can get my rank up magic to bring back the bird and rank it up. Going straight into my Revolution Falcon, who is actually, of all the cards in this deck, this is the card that performs way harder than it should. This card is crazy good. It has a target, it can target something and pop it, and it can just attack everything and destroy everything on the field. Even if my opponent floats into more things, it just keeps attacking, it doesn't stop. I think the last replay I'll show you today shows this as a very good example of this. It's really cool. It's a really cool card. Big fan of it. Alright, then extending further, summoning out my dude, summoning out my other dude, going to another copy of my 4 Strix, searching for an extender for later turns if I ever need it, which I won't need it. This card can detach, then gain attack equal to the card it's targeting, popping a card on the field, and this guy can detach to attack everything on the field. As you can see, just bopping over everything. Alright, on to replay in number 2. Against Jonah. Actually, I think this guy did a bit of floating in this replay, actually. I think this is the, I forgot what the art type's called. Oh no, it's not this one, never mind. I think I didn't record that replay in the end, decided against it. This guy was playing Fossil, I think. Which had one slightly annoying part of its, effect, where it could target a card in my graveyard and resummon it. So it's sort of like a weak DD Crow style effect. Can be a little bit annoying for this deck, but not the worst. Especially when you have two types of rank up to choose from. Bit of a jammer for a theme music though, goddamn. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know this guy even had an animation. Honestly, not the worst, not bad. Alright. Summons out his 4, just a bit of burn damage. I think that was a normal summon. That explains why I couldn't kill it later on. Alright, spoiler alert. Alright, so this card apparently just isn't a once per turn or a hard once per turn, so you just summon it, summon the other one to summon another card. He compulses, we've got Forbidden Lance, another card that's basically essential. I think all my videos you're going to see from me this week are just going to be using Forbidden Lance and Triple Book of Moon. It's just inevitable at this point. We're just in one of those metas again, which I don't mind too much, because there's generally a lot of back and forth to these kinds of metas. I say that as most of these replays of me just absolutely just OTKing the shit out of my opponent. Alright. Searching for my Skip Force. Unfortunately, he targets the card I try to use, but it's fine because I already have my other Skip Force ready. So I can just rank this dude up instead, well, because I'm making another rank 4 instead. Go into my 4 Strix. 4 Strix having a search. Because he's level 4, I can use this one to rank him up. Summoning out my Revolution Falcon. Right, gaining some attack, and then we just swing it into everything that's special summoned. Forgetting this thing wasn't special summoned, I decided to, yep, interesting attack that one. But it's fine, he's still dead on field. Alright. So I haven't actually shown too much of the new cards yet. We have used the new cards a couple of times, but the next 3 plays are the ones where we actually get them. It's more for the going first board and for summoning out your big boy you'll see in some of these replays. Because we have used it, we did use the new cards a decent amount, just they didn't seem super game winning. Like if you had some of the old ones, they probably would have done the exact same in those positions. It's more for the turn 1 end board you can set up. God, I recorded so many going second replays, actually. I hope I had recorded at least one of the going first replays, so I'm going to be tilted. I definitely had some, so I hope I recorded them. Oh, is this the other Odd Eyes skill? We're using Pendulum Call, which I'm still not... I've no idea. This skill's apparently better, which I guess it just seems like its power level is better, but relying on hard drawing Pendulum Call is kind of... I don't know, it seems kind of troll. It is, yeah, like a 60% chance to open it in a 20 card deck, so it's probably fine. Going second, that jumps to 70, so... I guess people just play the skill that has the higher power level but less consistency, which I find those kind of gameplay a little bit less fun. Alright. Summons out his Odd Eyes. Summons out a little dude. Oh yeah, this was the weird guy. Alright, so he sent some back row. I saw my Tribute. Unfortunately, he didn't pay out any back row, sadly. So I'm going to use this guy to swap him out for a copy of my Vanishing. Because then Vanishing can just summon out my other Vanishing and summon out my other Vanishing. He has Treacherous Trap Hole, but he decides to target his own monster? I wasn't really sure why he did this. It's like, maybe he wants to pendulum summon this card back. Then I read its pendulum effect, I'm like... Its monster effect doesn't do anything. So I really don't know why he did that and to just destroy both of these. Either way, he's lost, so... Anyway, who the hell is still playing Treacherous Trap Hole in current year? Alright. 4 Strix gonna be searching for my Strangle. Rise Falcon, you know the drill. Alright, Raptors rising, going my Skip Force. Making this guy into the big boy. He's the big boss monster. The on-summon cannot be responded to, destroys all spell and trap cards on the field. Unfortunately, these two apparently were protected by Pendulum Call, so... what can you do? But anyway, Poppy's back in case there's anything annoying, and this card can just reduce this thing's attack to 0. At any point, I think he concedes before I even do that. Oh no, I get so. Reduce it to 0, he concedes before I even go to another Xyz summon. Alright. Where was I up to? I think I'm on the final replay? Might be on the final replay. I might just click the replay we've already watched. No, did I? I don't actually know. I have to edit this out the video if I did. Alright. Oh wait, this guy's hasn't got the right skill, so it can't be right. Alright, this is a going first replay. Thank God I actually recorded one. Alright. So we're going to aim to set up 2 Xyz monsters here. Both of which lock your opponent out of special summoning, basically. Now keep in mind, we're going for these sort of end boards. Positioning is very important, because you want to enable it so that you have your big dude here, or your 2 Xyz monsters like this, because you want to have it so that your Raidraptor that you'll see during the end of the turn, one of your Raidraptors or your level 4 Raidraptors goes straight back into the extra deck, and you want to make sure you're doing that from one of these 2 zones, because then you have 2 zones available for follow-up on future turns, so you can summon out further Raidraptors and do further combos, because otherwise you'll be very board clogged, and you'll be left with potentially a monster with just no effect below it after its attached materials, and a 950 attack monster on field, which do absolutely nothing. So if you clog up your field, you'll be able to basically not be able to play the rest of the duel, so... don't clog yourself, is basically what I'm trying to say. You'll understand once you just watch sort of what I'm doing here, but basically you want to make sure you have 2 zones available. So yeah, try to get this dude summoned here, or summoned on the back row. Don't summon him in the extra zones. Alright, going into my Evolzar Solda, which is a card that whenever my opponent tries to special summon, detach a material, destroy all those special summon monsters. Alright, summoning out my Strangle. Strangle bring back my monster. Go into my Nightmare. And then during the end of the turn... actually, normally during the end of the turn, this card would shuffle itself back in, but I was kind of scared my opponent would have an MST or something, so I don't really want to leave this on the field, so I decided to just summon out my big boy instead. Not sure if this was correct or not, because it kind of comes back to bite me a little bit, but not really. Alright, Spiral Flame Strike, of course, targets the card that's immune to destruction effects, as you do. I then perform a slight misplay here. I use my Solda to destroy his field, forgetting that both these cards are going to do a float if I destroy them. I should have flipped them face down with my Nightmare. Yeah, this is just troll. If I put them both face down, my opponent would have had a much harder time trying to play the game. Yeah, I literally just gave my opponent 2 free searches. I do flip this card face down though, which again was probably troll. I could just use this card to protect myself against it, but I didn't know if he was going to use it for something. Alright. Searching for my Strangle. And here's like, you can see why I kind of screwed myself a little bit by going for this play of summoning this dude instead of just leaving my spell face down, because I could have summoned out, if I didn't do that, I could have summoned out my Revolution Falcon on this turn and then attacked a whole bunch, so yeah, I would have dealt with all these floaters really easily. But like, I'm very clogged at the moment. Alright, Madonna getting a search for the Abyss Actor card. Summoning it out. Actually, it doesn't even summon out the big guy, which I thought he couldn't respond to when he summons it, so I'm not sure why he didn't choose to summon that one. Oh, only spell and trap cards can't be responded to, so my Nightmare still could have. Okay, I understand now. So I choose to put these face down, he then tribute summons. I'm going to reduce something to 0 and activate all these effects before he gets out his next card, because I know the card he's searching for can't be responded to by, can't be responded to anyway. So I'm going to reduce everything to 0, and you'll notice, by the way, this card is a non-once per turn, and the effect is permanent. So these cards are just permanently 0 attack. Actually kind of an insane, insane boss monster, that one. Just permanent attack reduction. Alright. Then we have the Red Eyes player. I think that was actually the only going first replay I bothered to record. To be fair, the going first replays aren't generally as exciting as the going second ones. The going second ones are where you get the whole, like, the big boss monsters slamming your opponent kind of shit. It's a lot more fun. Going first is just like, yeah, I just summon these sort of generic-y boss monster dudes that just, not even boss monsters, just generic dudes that just negate special summons. Not the most exciting gameplay. Going second is kind of crazy. Alright, so this guy was playing Red Eyes. Summons out a Linkaribo. This guy was actually, this replay was kind of amusing, because this guy just held on for dear life. He refused to die. He still died in one turn, but you'll see what I mean. This man really held on, he refused to give up. Actually a Joey role player. Alright, attributing my dude, because again, very bricky hand, not too great. But because we got this card, it just sort of fixed it a bit. Didn't get to bait out any back race out. We've still got Lance, so who gives a shit. Or Lance, however you pronounce it. Summon my dude, make the levels the same, go into my 4 Strix. Go into my Rise Falcon. I don't think I even had to use Lance this duel. Alright, summon my big overgrown pigeon. Raptors Rising, detaching, guarding my 4 Strix. Gonna be upgrading into my boss monster. My opponent cannot respond now. Destroyed all his spell and trap cards. Unfortunately, one of them has a float. And also, this card can summon itself back to the field as well. Not too bad, though. Alright, Shade Force, bringing him back. Going into our level 6, our Revolution Falcon. And finally, summoning 2 monsters to the field, popping his Karibo so it can't reduce this guy's attack to 0, because that'd be annoying. And yeah, we just swing in, hit his monster, swing in, hit his monster, and it floats. So we're like, alright, we'll hit that again. And it floats. This man refused to let me hit him in the face, he just kept floating. Get that shit out of here, and he's gone. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you give me a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, have a whole bunch of videos still planned around the latest box. So if you want to see any of those, remember to give a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.